Okay, so we'll continue on with the hull details and we'll work on these anchor shelf plates next. Now, up until now, I've been cutting up photo etch on an old disc or MDF, but there's another surface that I've just been made aware of. So the Infinity masking tape cutter, I've had my eye on this for a long time, but I've put off buying it until a friend mentioned that the backside can be used for cutting photo etch as well, which I wasn't aware of. And there we go, a nice acrylic surface. So let's give this a try. So it's going to work really well. I mean, there's very little damage on the back side anyway, which won't affect the tape cutting side, but okay. So let me just cut the rest of these up. Okay, so that's all the parts cut up, the plates. I've got some brackets here, the D-shackles and some ribs. The D-shackles took a fair bit of time to do because there was like a connection point in both sides that had to be cleaned up and they're very small, so that's been done. So let's get them installed. Okay, so it's now time to fit the anchor shelf plates. Now, I haven't done this size of plate before, so I'm not 100% sure the best way to do it. What I think I'll do is I'll apply some CA gel and see how we get on with that. So we'll start in these lower sections first. I'll just put some spread out. I don't want to overdo it and I don't want it spreading out over the edges. So we're just going to line it up. And then we'll push it down. So I don't know if you can see, there's a little raised bit there and that actually has a hole in it for the shackles to go on. But that seems to have worked. I'll just test fit the next one. And then that seems to be right as well. So I'll try and keep the glue away from that hole because we've got other stuff the anchor handling davit to go there. This is just cheap, like a 3-pack of gel tubes from Office Supply Place. It's nothing fancy. A wee bit of glue came out the top in that circle area. And then the last one for this side is the biggest part. Again, just trial fit, and that looks good. Again, I'm just holding the glue back from the edge a bit because I don't want it squeezing out the edge because there'll just be more to clean up. Just keep the pressure on for a wee bit. Okay, so that's the port side done. I'll do the other side. Okay, so that's all the anchor shelf plates attached now. So we saw me do this side. On the starboard side, there's a few different levels and plates. This one here seems to be a bit oversized. So it's got a bit of an overhang. I'm not sure you can see that. But I'm just going to leave it. We've got the crane here with a lot of things. We've got the anchors, chains and things, so I've got a feeling if I try and clean this up, it's just going to pop it off, so I'm going to just leave it. Okay, so for the ribs, they're just long, flat pieces that we need to fold together. So again, nothing, they come together nice, so what I think I'll do is I'll just use the CA gel again. I'll just run a bead along. Hopefully you can see that. It's not too bad. I think some of it squeezed up the top. So we'll just come in with the file. We'll just clean up the top and bottom edges. It'll be fine. So as mentioned, there's two different lengths of ribs. There's a shorter one and a longer one. Once you start applying glue, just make sure you select the right one. What I think I might do is just put a wee blob of the gel, a couple of points, just to get it started. And then I'll probably come back and with something. Now it's just held with a couple of blobs of gel. Now what I'll try and do is come in with something, and hopefully the fuller reaction, hopefully it pulls it into the joint. It didn't really work as I thought, but I don't really think the thing went in there. I can't see any evidence of it, but it does seem fairly secure, so that's what I'll just do. I'll just apply the gel in a couple of locations, because it did seem to be quite successful. So I'll just put a dot, top, middle and bottom. Okay, so you get the idea anyway. I've got a couple more to do here and 3 on the other side. So, okay, and lastly, we need to start attaching all the shackles. So there's 2 sizes, so just be mindful of the instructions of where they go. This is a smaller one, just 3, 4, 6, and I don't know if you can see. There's a little tiny tab at the bottom, and then on the shelf locations, there's little slots. So apply some glue, I guess. Now, you are supposed to bend them over, but I think I'll do that after the glues went off and I've painted them and everything. And then I can bend them over once the anchors is in place. Okay, but you get the idea anyway. I'll do the rest of them and then I'll come back. So that's the anchor shelves finished now. The shackles, once you go into a bit of a rhythm, went in okay. Luckily, Pontos provide lots of spares because I did lose a few. So we'll move to the stern now and we'll do the main hatches onto the Admiral's walk. So there's a number of parts there. I have cut them out already and cleaned them up. The only thing to note is that they are handed, so you just make sure you follow the instructions for the right way around. So what I've done is I've put some tape in both sides, just so we get the same height up from the base and the same distance around the corner. So I used some existing marks and hull lines as datums. Okay. So the first part we'll attach is this framework here, and if you can see there on the side, it's got all the dogs. So we'll just bend them up. They're very small. It doesn't take much to bend them. And that's just to keep them away from this hull surface. So when we come to glue, they don't get stuck to the hull. So what I've done is I've temporarily put in some thin tape just to hold it in place. So the important dimensions is this bottom one, so it sits on there because that's horizontal, in this corner because that gives you the distance, equidistance. So as you can see, I put the tape on at a bit of an angle, but when the door is sitting horizontal, it gives me the correct vertical. Now that that corner is fixed, I can now remove this one here without pulling the door off. Here we go. So that's now the correct position of the door, or what I'm assuming is the correct position. It's got a bit of a spring on it, but that's fine. We'll just put in more tape. Okay, so that's both sides taped up. It's hard to tell if it's uniform across both sides, but it should be. So for this door, the only thing we have to watch out is this bottom corner. I can't get it to go in tight, so we'll have to make sure we hold it with the tweezers when we glue. The rest's all good, it's all touching. So hopefully, I'm going to try gluing it from the inside using the applicator. I'm not sure if I can because of the shape of the applicator, it's actually hard for the glue to take them off. So if I come in and touch next to it, I think that worked. It's hard to tell because the glue doesn't go right to the edge. So we'll just try up here. Oh yeah, that definitely worked out then. So let's see, hopefully if I take this tape off, it should stay there. It's a wee bit over glue there, but it's okay. Okay, so that seems to have worked. So that's the frame on anyway. We've now got the actual hatch itself, which comes with an inner frame, so you have to bend it, being careful to bend it on the hinges. So I was looking at doing it by placing it, because there's a recess all the way around, doing it this way and then closing the door. But I actually think we should close this and glue it up and then put the closed door in place rather than trying to close it afterwards. So what I think I'll do to close the door, so just come in. Okay, so that seems okay. And then I'll just put a couple of touches of medium CA just to hold it. Might just give the ends of the hinges just a swipe with the file, just to square them up a bit, because that's where the bends were made. So what I think I'll do is I'll probably some CHL just at a few locations. And then we'll try and line it up with the ridge or the recess. Okay. So we'll just hold the door in place and then we'll bend over the dogs. Okay, so that's the door in place. So we'll attach the rig all next. So we've just placed some CA on the two ends there. We'll try and position. So one end's fixed, what we'll do. We'll just come in with some CA, slip it in behind. Then we'll be able to push it back. And that's that done. And then the last thing is we just installed the door handle. And that was just some gel. Okay, so that's both stern hatches on. Not too bad. What we'll work on next is the torpedo net boom brackets here, which are made up of two parts and fit into the side of the hull. And then we'll also make a start on the torpedo net shelves as well that run along the side of the hull. So we'll do them next. So the torpedo nets and the brackets and supports and whatnot are on what appears to be either stainless steel or some kind of nickel steel. I haven't cut these up before, but I'm assuming they're going to be a bit harder than the usual brass. We'll try our usual method. I'm using a knife and see how we get on. Okay, so yeah, they are a bit stiffer, but it's still possible to do just using a knife. Okay, so we'll start cleaning these up and assembling the mounting points for the booms. the nickel or stainless. It's definitely a lot harder than the brass. I found that when trying to free them from the frets. You can actually hear the difference with the file. Okay, so that's the mounting plate. So hopefully you can see on the front face there's a bending line. So what I think I'll do is I'll bend them, and then once they're glued, then I'll clean up the surfaces. So I'll almost squeeze them together. Hopefully they're bending in a line, and then just apply some CA super glue between them. Squeeze them shut. So hopefully it goes through that slot. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll just apply some glue from the back side. Now we'll fit these to the hull. Okay, so we'll install the boom mounting point here. So I'm actually going to use a medium CA this time, just to give me a bit of time. Then we'll just come in. We just want to make sure that the eye is horizontal. Okay, so that's the first one done. Just another 15 to go. We'll also start fitting at this stage the side davits on the hull. So there's a few different styles, or at least two, plus they're handed as well. So we'll cut them up next, and that's them here. Okay, so let's start cutting these out. I'll just roughly cut them initially. So I'm not sure if you can see these, but they're very well molded. Barely discernible mold line down the center, slightly on the flat surfaces, but on the rounds can't really see anything. So I'll just clean these up. Okay, so we'll install the davits now. So the only thing to be mindful is that they are handed, so just make sure we get the right ones on the right side. Now you can see the davits covering the steps, or the holes for the steps, but that's okay, we'll look at that in a second. And then we're just going to use some Tamiya extra thin. Get into the hole, doesn't need a great deal. Just touch this bottom hole here. So I guess the important thing is to make sure that these are vertical. The top being parallel with the deck's a good indication as well. So what I'll do for this is, I mean, it's very flexible. So when I come to do the steps, I'll put the steps in, and then I can bend this out and just put a touch of glue against the hull. I could probably just glue it now, but if I put the steps in, the steps will give it a bit of a hold. So, okay. I'm going to end the video here. It's been taking a fair while to get to this point. So we've done the anchor shelves. I actually put the wriggles above the gun ports there, but I didn't film that. We did all the mounting points for the torpedo net booms. We've done some of the side mounted davits as well. Moving back, more davits, mounting points, wriggle, and the stern hatches. There's still a number of bits to put on before I prime and paint, but hopefully one more video we'll see that finished. So we'll do the anchor shelves along the sides, and there's a few other brackets that I'll attach. That's it for this video.